Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to the channel. Apparently I have a channel now. So I want to share my latest piece. I made a tutorial for my street art animation I worked with in collaboration with One Truth. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. It took about a week and a half to do. I used After Effects. I used Photoshop, the beta versions. I worked with a Duic piece of software called Angela, which I used for the character animation, and put it all together. Took quite a while. This video is going to take quite a while, but I think I'll break it into 4 pieces. So if you like it, please, like and subscribe. Maybe it's going to help me make some more in the future. I hope you enjoy it, and feel free to leave as many comments as questions as you want. Tell me how badly or well I'm doing, but I appreciate any feedback. Let's jump into the video. Okay, so first things first, let's have a look at the footage. Now, hopefully you've already seen the video. I imagine you have. My idea was to, I was out for a walk. I heard that this beautiful piece of artwork by One Truth might be going soon because they're building a big thing in front of it. And I thought, I want to make a tribute to it because I've walked past this thousands of times. It's been my great friend. So what you want to do is you want to go out there, you want to get your clean footage. You want to get your nice shot, go on a nice day, shoot at 60 frames per second, 4K if possible. You want to get the highest quality possible to work with because you're going to be jumping into Photoshop. You're going to be doing a little bit of AI, not a small amount of AI. I'm not a big fan of AI. I'm really not, but it's a means to an end. Saves my life sometimes, speeds things up. So, I'm going to use it when I can, just to help myself out. I'm not stealing anyone's work. I made sure to reach out to One Truth, not One Truth Brothers. I reached out to them to ask me to work on this project. They love the idea, so we're collaborating. So it's really fun for me so far. But anyway, let's go back to the footage. So, at the minute I'm showing you the animation as it's playing, right? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a frame where the quality is really high. That's going to be a base plate, okay? So I'm going to switch off my proxy here so you can actually see it without the footage. You can see, yes, it's real. That's actually the character, I'll undo that and you can see I was able to get the quality very, very similar to the actual real footage. Slight color change and stuff like that, but I think it's for the best. So anyway, let's go through. We're going to find our plate. I really like this one at the end. If I zoom in here, put it to full quality, you can see we got a lot of stuff to work with, and that's really going to help us when we go into Photoshop to clean out this character, create ourselves a nice wall plate. So let's start with that. I'm going to go up and I'm going to save out this frame. I'm going to give it a name. I'm calling it Shot 2. Let's put it to the best quality we possibly can, like this. Save it as a Photoshop file. You don't need an alpha channel. And hit render. So now we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to open it up in Photoshop and start doing some magic. Okay, so now we've opened it up. We're in the beta version of Photoshop. We're going to take advantage of the AI tools that are available at the minute. So the first thing I've done is I'm just making this into a layer I'm going to call base plate. Now, I'm going to speed through parts of this video because you don't need to watch me cloning for hours and hours. I'm also going to make this smaller because I can't see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this layer a few times. That one's base plate. I'm going to call this one character. If I can spell it correctly. Then we're going to call this one wall. Okay. We don't need to worry about making copies because we've always got the base plate to fall back on. So first thing for me, the most important is check the quality, make sure we're good. Works for me. Now we're going to try to use a clever little trick, generative fill, using AI in Photoshop. Now it doesn't always work every single time, Nothing ever works for every single time, but we'll give it a go. So for brevity, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scooch around this object, chop them out, see how we do. Maybe we get it first time. I doubt it. But we're going to give it a shot. Now, only go where you really need to, we want to keep as much of the original wall detail as we possibly can. There we go. So we're going to do generative fill. And what we want to do is we want to remove the object. Let's give it a shot. See how it works out. I have a very slow machine. You can probably hear it in the background like an airplane. But that's okay. We'll work through it together. It's important. Okay, slightly weird. Yeah? That's not bad. There we go. That's pretty good. But I don't like what's going on in the background of the wall. So actually, I think I'm going to use this one as my base. It's pretty cool. You might wonder, what are we going to do about these windows? We're just going to use the remove tool, take advantage of the AI. Now when I was doing this was tricky, especially here, where it's in front of the object. There's nothing for the AI to work on. This will probably work. Just paint you out. Yeah, that's good. Let's see how much we can get of this. All right, that's good. But watch what happens when I try to do this. I mean, you could use it, but it's not good enough for me. Let's try here. Not good enough for me, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use good old-fashioned clone brush. What we're going to do, we're going to start out with a pretty hard edge on it. I'm just going to grab what looks like a nice kind of gradient here. You don't want to make it patchy, all right? But start with a soft brush just to get out the kind of general areas, right? Yeah, you can do it here too. Result, let's go to fit to screen. I think that's pretty good. Let's switch it off. Magic. I mean, it's not perfect. The wall is not perfect there. I spent a lot more time when I was doing the original one, and that's actually what we're going to look at when we're back in the After Effects project. But as you can see, we got it out. I'm pretty satisfied with that result. The next step, we're going to actually remove the character itself from the wall and then break it into a lot of layers. That takes time. There's going to be a lot of fast forwarding on this one. This is a pretty tedious part. I'm going to do a lot of speeding up in this, I promise. What I have to do is I have to isolate this character from the wall. Okay? So there are many ways to do this. First off, I'm going to scale this video down because it's annoying me. There are many ways to do this. So I'm going to just, let's start with making a little copy just for safety. Switch that off. Now, what I like to do is I like to put a layer in the background. Give it a pretty bright and saturated color. So when I cut out objects here, when I cut around the background, when I remove things, I can clearly see what I'm doing. So let's see if we can try to use again the AI to isolate the character from the background. And if I remember correctly, this didn't work. So now we're going to ask Photoshop to remove the background. A little cup of coffee. I drink so much coffee. I'm actually 25 years old. That's not exactly what I wanted to happen. So that didn't work. So now we have to do the slightly tedious version instead. Now there are many ways to do this. I'm going to start with the magic eraser. Let's put a low tolerance, say 10%. Give it a shot, see what happens. It's not bad. Let's bring the tolerance up. Let's go to 30. Oh yeah, that's good. Whoops, wrong layer. I hate that about Photoshop. Oh yeah. And let's do a little bit of a zoom in here. You know what? It's not perfect and it's very noisy. Now, as I say, I'm trying not to bore you to death with this video. Our feet is covered again, which is very annoying. The graffiti's in front of it. It's very annoying. So how do I deal with that? I'm going to show you how I dealt with it. Let's go to our background eraser tool again. We're going to select this color to protect it. Paint this stuff out. Oops, see? Too ambitious. Went too far. Pull it back a bit. Bump. Yep, that's good. Maybe we get there. Yeah. Not bad. But Lee, what do we do about this stuff? Well, we can use a little bit of Photoshop tricks. Now remember, I'm going to always revert back to the original artwork. So this time it looks like I am basically retouching their footage, but I don't really have a choice. So what I want to do is I want to find a part here which I think is going to work as a proper base for the foot. It's not going to work perfectly, but we'll see. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to Control-Shift place it back into the original placement so I can see where it is. I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to look at this, and then I'm going to transform it. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I really still have never learned hotkeys. That's just because I'm really lazy, you know? One of these days I'll get around to it, but for now, I'm not going to. All right, I know there are better ways to do this. Okay, so copy, paste, put it back into the original position again. Bring it over here because he has 2 legs, you know? Look, now he's got 2 feet. We can animate the rest of him. We have a nice clean plate, just for the sake of sanity. I'm just gonna erase all the rest of this stuff. Give ourselves a pat on the back because it's a nice clean plate. Next step. Now, it's pretty tedious, and you have to make sure you protect your layers. All right, so let's give him a name. Swiss Dude Clean. Then we're going to duplicate it. Right. I want to animate everything that you see on this screen. Well, okay, I didn't animate as much as I should have. I wanted to make this little birdie thing fly away. That's for the guy on Reddit who thought you could have given it a bit more life. Well, you know, I give it a lot of time. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to remove all of these blades, right? Clean these out. So for the purposes of the tutorial, I'm just going to do it really quickly. So you must forgive me. You're probably looking at the screen going, hey, there's an easier way to do this. I'm very sure there is. Please write in comments or something like that. Give me a tutorial. I'm very happy. Use little selections, you know, kind of chop them all out, make sure it's gone. And the great thing is, well, I'll tell you the great thing when we get to it. Be patient. So let's see. We got our little dude. We need the legs as a separate layer, but we'll do that later on. So next step, I'm going to load the selection. Boom, here we go. I'm going to switch that off. I'm going to make another duplicate of our clean Swiss Army knife guy. So now he's gone. Don't worry, we'll get him back. But what do we end up with? We end up with all of these elements and a very messy mat. We don't like a messy mat. And the next step of the process, isolating each and every one of these elements. Now, this video is already 20 minutes long, so I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one I prepared earlier. So we got my original file loaded in Photoshop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the background. You can see I made a lot more effort when I was doing the original file. Let's zoom in here. You can see it's much softer, it's much cleaner. So things that I had to do, which I knew were really important. I knew his feet were going to go back in front of the graffiti on the ground, and I knew they'd have to go in front and behind it while the animation was going on. So I needed to create plates for doing that. So that's why we have foot graffiti and we have the foreground graffiti, right? So I spent time painting that out much cleaner, and you can see, you know, it's much nicer in this version. I had a bit more time, I was a bit more patient. I probably don't want to send you to sleep any more than I already have. So let's switch on the other elements. You can see, you know, slowly but surely, there's the body. Okay. There's a little bird in his head. You know, switch on there's the knife. There we go. So now we've got our clean plate. We're going to switch on our blue in the background here. And you can see everything's nice and clean. It's nice and isolated. And now it's time for, I would say, the fun stuff, but I don't know. You know, I had to track these things out. I had to clean out the wall. That's good. But you're going to see what I'm talking about. All right.